But what you're writing in that comment, Allah's gonna ask you about it on the day of judgment.
Wow.
Like, you're playing God, telling people that, oh, Allah's never gonna forgive you. You're going to hell. Na'udhu billah. Like, Allah will definitely ask you about that.
Socially profiled when he
Welcome back to another episode of Socially Profiled. I'm your host, Slim, alongside with my co-host, Adam, Saleh. Ahlan.
How's it going? We're using one mic today, by the way, because one of the mics, something happened when we took it to Kenya, but it's all good because we have a
It broke by accident. Yeah, it broke by accident because we're supposed to shoot this episode in Kenya, but a lot of things came up because we was busy. But we have very special guest today. He was he was the spiritual guide of the trip in Kenya. I would say, like, he helped us like so much during that trip. He helped a lot of people, and I want to introduce him here today. Here it is, Mufti Rafiq.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you.
My brother. You know, I swear, wallah, I never thought I'd be so like good of friends with a mufti, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're such wallah, for you as a mufti, like you're very educated, and like the way you speak with your words, you're very, I don't know, man, like you're very inspiring, bro. Wallah, seriously, like
what is like, before anyone, because some people don't know what's a mufti, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is, even to me right now, like, because before, I know a lot of people have heard of Mufti Mink. I thought Mufti was his name, you know what I'm saying? So what is Mufti exactly, like, as a definition? Like, what is it?
So the definition of a mufti is someone who's allowed to give legal rulings in Islam. So
Wow.
it's like it requires more studying after you become like a scholar or an imam, but you're allowed to give legal rulings on contemporary matters.
well, I thought a mufti was like more if someone like who specialized in a certain area in Islam.
That's exactly what it is. You specialize in an area to give fatwa, to give rulings.
So it's like I could just come to you, ask a question. Hey, can I like any question, like, can I marry a girl who is Sikh?
Yeah, so a lot of scholars can answer that question, but the more complicated questions and the ones that require you to do research, muftis usually answer those questions.
Wow. So it's like,
so for example, I'm gonna give you an example.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people they use like medical, medical avenues to get pregnant. For example, like IVF, right? It's like when you take the egg of the woman and the sperm of the male, and in a scientific lab you make it into an embryo, and then you re-inject that embryo into the uterus of the woman, which then becomes fertilized.
So
now the ruling for
like,
that.
So people try to make their own babies or something, kind of.
Not really. It's usually the sperm from the husband and then the egg from the wife.
Yeah.
They usually only do that technique or that lab procedure
Yeah.
if it's necessary. Now the issue is that permissible? Is that allowed?
Wow. Yeah.
So a mufti would be able to give you the answer for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mashallah. Damn. Like, so Mufti got the answers.
But yo, I have a question. So like, what area do you specialize in, like, exactly in Islam? Like,
so I do a lot of legal law. So like divorces, medical field, like medical, obviously in an Islamic financing, banking, stock market, forex, a lot of those things we do too.
Wow. Mashallah. Now, honestly, that's so amazing, because I remember when we went to Philly for the first time, with Muslims of the world, we went to Philadelphia to do the homeless food distribution.
Yeah.
And you took us there, you know what I'm saying? So when we were on that 1 hour and a half ride, and I told Slim, I was like, yo, Mufti Rafiq, you never met him, but I promise you're gonna learn so much. And look at Slim tells me now, it's like, yo, I love Mufti, man. I learned so much. And then he keeps saying, yo, watch, I'm being Mufti in 10 years. I'm like, bro, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Tell him.
I know it's not easy, but yo, honestly, just being around you, bro, wallah, I'm not even joking. Like, you inspire me so much. Bro.
Alhamdulillah,
like,
alhamdulillah.
Not only that, because during that trip, bro, you helped a lot of people, including me, but not just me. You helped our brother Fusi so much, like, and that means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to Adam as well. You know, honestly.
Nah, I'm blessed. You guys gave me the platform and the honor of just coming, just hanging out with you guys, and just being like a brother. That's it. That's all it takes. You know, it's unity.
My brother, well, honestly, seriously, like, this is for Slim, honestly, like, or everyone that's listening too. The process of becoming like a mufti, like what made you kind of like want to become from you? Let's say from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? Like, what made you want to be a mufti, kind of?
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, So
Brooklyn, New York. Nice.
me and Ad,
let's go.
me and Adam were born in the same hospital.
No
So,
way.
Yeah,
Coney Island Hospital.
Coney Island Hospital. Yeah.
My
I'm
brother.
a Lutheran hospital.
Also Brooklyn. Though.
So I was like, my dad had a restaurant in Manhattan. So I was like I was like 9 years old, and my dad was going to California with my older brother, who's 1 year older than me. They're traveling to Cali, and I wanted to go. I was like, yo, don't leave me hanging over here. So I told my father, look, I want to go, and I was trying to convince him, and he wasn't getting convinced. So I spoke to my mother, and I told my mother, can you tell my father to take me to California too? And my mom was like, don't go. I was like, why? She's like, because your father's gonna leave your older brother there. I was like, look, I understand you don't like my dad, but he's not that bad. He's not gonna leave us in Cali. So long story short, I convinced my mom to tell my dad to take me. My dad ended up taking me. We go to LA, Los Angeles, and every single day it was like Universal Studios. We went to Hollywood, eating out all day, buying stuff. So it was like we went to San Diego, we went to SeaWorld. So it was like the dream vacation, except for one day. Randomly, after like 2 weeks in Cali, we go to like Dick's Sporting Goods. We buy like sleeping bags. We buy a whole bunch of stuff, and then went to Walmart and bought a whole bunch like necessary essentials. Then all of a sudden, my dad takes me and my older brother to like this masjid. It's like a madrasa where you memorize the Quran. He takes us there at night in San Diego, and he's like, "I'm leaving you guys here. I'm gonna come back tomorrow." I was like, "Wait. What?" I was like, "You're gonna leave us here?" And then we've never been separate from our parents.
What made him want to take you to like the Quran school? To he just
That was his dream. That was like
Wow.
his dream that we become hafiz of Quran.
wow.
Like that was like his
That's
like
my mom's dream too.
yeah, that was his, like ultimate dream that if I ever have children, I want them to become hafiz of Quran, where you memorize the entire Quran. So my dad's like, look, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, and I was like, no, I was like, he dropped off all our stuff. He's like, I was like, this stuff doesn't look like you're gonna come back tomorrow. So he starts walking out of the masjid. He walks out of the school. He walks off the property, and he's going into his car. It's like midnight at this point, and I just start chasing him. I'm like crying my eyes out, crying, screaming on the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
My brother's right behind me, screaming as loud as me. So my dad jumps into his car and he jets off,
What?
and I'm chasing him down the street crying.
Yeah, but
Damn.
where were you able to sleep around like that?
So
Was there, like,
the school that he dropped us off, it's a school. It's like a boarding school.
boarding.
So you sleep there, eat there,
Wow.
you live there, and all you do 24/7 is memorize the Quran.
Wow.
So
wow.
I come back into the school and I'm crying my eyes out, and my dad, he calls like the principal, and the principal's right next to us, and my dad doesn't want to talk to us because he was very emotional. He was crying too. So the principal's like, your dad wants you guys to become a hafiz. I look at the principal at the time. I'm like, what's a hafiz? I was like, I
Wow.
didn't even know what it was. And he's like, it's someone who memorizes the entire Quran. So he puts the whole thing to memory.
How old are you at the time?
I was like 9 at the time.
Wow. Oh my God.
So
Subhanallah.
your dad just straight up left you in San Diego,
Straight up.
but you and your brother, and for how long?
He came back after like 3.5 months.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yo, wow. Hold up.
Wait, who'd you live with?
Subhanallah.
We
yo,
stayed there at the school.
You lived at the school?
We lived at the school. So
So it's like a special kind of boarding school or something?
exactly.
Oh.
It's like Zoe 101, but the Islamic way. Kind of.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty
well,
much.
Hold up.
Other brothers and everything?
Yeah, it's all
Wow.
brothers.
So how was it being there? Like every day? How'd you feel? That's
To be honest with you, I know like the Muslims like listening to this podcast, they probably experienced this in a way, either going there daily to to the madrasa, to the masjid, and memorizing Quran. But I did it like full. I mean, some of them might have done it full time, but I hated it, man. I was like I was away from parents, I was
Yeah.
away from family, friends. I didn't know what I was doing. I was young,
yeah.
and I was I'm not gonna say I was immature, but I was innocent. I didn't know what was going on. So after 3.5 months, my dad shows up, comes back, randomly walks into the masjid. I'm like, yo, where have you been?
Oh, wow.
Like we could barely even speak to our parents because we didn't have phones at the time. So it was like
Subhanallah, man. So it's pretty much like he forced you to go
pretty
to go
much.
there. But honestly, it's still kind of a blessing.
No, 100%
yeah,
because
yeah.
so what happens? My family ended up moving to Cali. The day my family moved to Cali, like my dad moved my mom, there was a huge mountain fire, and my mom just broke down. She's like, "This is a sign from Allah. He doesn't want us to be here. The whole mountain was on fire. Like,
Yeah.
so we had to evacuate like the city, evacuate our house, like
San Diego, there was a mountain
in
fire?
in San Diego, in Mira Mesa, San Diego.
In California, there's a lot of like.
Yeah, it's bad.
fires,
It gets
mountains.
bad. So we stayed there a few more months, and then we ended up moving back to New York, and that's when things got even more crazier. So we moved back to New York, but we didn't live in Brooklyn. We moved to Long Island.
Wow.
And my father, he had a restaurant in Harlem, on 125th and 6th Avenue.
Wow, I swear I used to live. I lived like 6, 7 blocks away from there before.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so life became easy for us in the sense that my dad, we were living in Long Island. The store, the restaurant my dad had was in Harlem, and the school we started to go to memorize the Quran was right in the middle in Queens.
Wow.
So it was perfect. My dad wake up, drop us off at school, and he'll go straight to work. And it was good for us too because we came home every single day. Go in the morning at 8, come back home at 4. But one random night, we were doing this for a year.
Yeah.
And then randomly after a year of doing this, the fire department called my dad like 4 o'clock in the morning, and they were like, your restaurant that you have in Harlem, it's on fire. And my dad was like, what? So we drove to Manhattan, and when we got to the restaurant, the whole building was in flames.
Wow. I think I heard about this in the news. Honestly.
So so you probably heard about it because
Wallah, I swear to God.
it was one of the first times that the building on top of my dad's restaurant was deserted, and it collapsed into the store.
I swear.
Oh my God. Yo,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Imagine your dad was working. You know,
So he closed the store that night, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The phone call came at 4 o'clock in the morning, so it was a 1 hour difference.
wow.
And in San Diego, there was a fire. You said over there, like a mountain fire, and now there's a fire here. Like
Exactly.
So, how do they feel about that? Like everything
We
going in
I-
your restaurant.
As a family, we lost everything. That was like my dad's like crux of his business.
Yeah.
So he stopped doing that. Obviously, he lost his business. We lost as a family everything. My dad started driving Uber, and he started doing like TLC, like taxi and stuff. So he was doing that in Long Island. So he couldn't drop us off to Queens anymore.
Yeah.
So my dad took us out of the school from Queens because we couldn't go no more. So he put us back into public school.
Because it costs money to be.
Because now my dad didn't have the commute where
Okay, yeah,
the convenience
yeah.
of going dropping us off in the middle
Yeah.
and going to work. Now he's
Wow.
working in Long Island, so he couldn't drive 30 minutes out of the way to Queens.
Wow, yeah.
So he took us out of school. We went to junior high school. I got admitted to the 7th grade.
Well, and at the time, did he like? How old were you when you knew the whole Quran? Like when you started?
I
Knowing,
never finished. So
never finished,
I
yeah.
only memorized. So the Quran has 30 volumes.
Yeah.
I only memorized 7.
Wow, mashallah. That's
Only
still
7?
at
Hey,
the
yo.
age of 9.
Bro, I'm proud to say I remember too. I always flex. I remember too. You know what I mean? But like
I remember
7,
only one, yeah.
Yeah.
At what age? Age 11?
No, by the time I finished the school in Queens, like 11, 12.
How did the rest of the process go?
So went back to school, junior high school, and then high school, and everything that I memorized, like the 7 volumes or chapters that I memorized, forgot all of it. Like you can imagine, it's like a New Yorker or a Muslim, quote unquote, American Muslim in America, going through the whole high school process, working, car, friends, basketball team. So you just get so caught up in that life that you kind of push the dean away, and that's what happened to me. Junior high school completely, I was like off the track. So I started taking high school super serious, and then alhamdulillah I got into Stony Brook University.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
No way.
I went to Stony Brook. I graduated high school early, went into Stony Brook University as a pre-med. And it was Ramadan. It was Ramadan. So it was the first semester. I'm sitting in class, and wallahi, I remember this like as if it happened yesterday. I'm sitting in class, and my professor comes in, and he's teaching us whatever he's teaching, and it's Ramadan. I look at the clock, like the clock that was on the wall, and all of a sudden, I felt like my heart literally turned, like it flipped, like not figuratively, like literally, I felt like my heart just turned, and I was like, "Yo, I want to become a hafiz." That's it. I was like,
there was no turning point or nothing like
that was like my instant paradigm shift. That I was on the way becoming a doctor, and my family was so happy because we lost the restaurant, so we weren't doing well. So for my father, my mother, it's like, okay, alhamdulillah, my son is gonna inshallah become a doctor, and obviously then financially support the family. Then all of a sudden that day in Ramadan in college, I'm like, you know what, I want to become a hafiz.
Like, what made you want to like just click? Like, what did you think about what happened before? Then you couldn't memorize all the volumes. What was it like?
I don't know. Wallah, I have till this day, I have no idea why I got that feeling. No clue. Like,
so that accident with your dad's business, was that caused you not to be a hafiz?
yeah, because my dad took us out of his school, right? The masjid, he took us out of it, so we went to junior high
Let's go
school.
to public school. Yeah.
So that's my dad's point.
So how did he feel like when?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
How did he feel when you weren't doing nothing and you were acting up in school? What was, because you wanted to be a hafiz when you were 9, and then after that, in middle school and high school, you were away going. What made him?
How did your family react basically to you like wanted to be a hafiz?
So yeah, so there's two questions. So I'm gonna answer your question first. Was when I was in like junior high school or even high school or even right in college, I wasn't too much on the deen. Obviously, it's you're a youngster, you want to enjoy life, not and do all that stuff. So I could kind of I understand like when a university student, a high school student comes up to me, he's like, look, it's hard for me to pray. I get it because I was in his shoes. I went through that whole process, that whole journey. So for my dad, it was tough because he always wanted me to become a hafiz, and then all of a sudden, I'm not reading my Quran, I'm not revising my Quran, I'm being lazy with my prayers. So, but may Allah bless him, he was always on top of me. And it's like every parent, right? It's like whenever they see, make sure you wake up for Fajr, make sure you pray your Salah, and I always make du'a from that. Maybe their du'as, like our parents' du'as, is what got us here.
So true, man. So true. We're saying the
'Cause you-
same thing in Kenya. What Yusuf was saying,
Yeah.
the whole trip to Kenya brought him to Islam from his mother's du'as.
100%.
But
So when I was in university, when that whole paradigm shift happened, I slept on it for a day or two. I'm like, let me think about it. Maybe I'm just emotional to Ramadan. So one day passed, 2 day passed, and I was like, look, no. I was like, this is the way. I was like, I'm finishing this semester, and I'm becoming a hafiz. So I go to my dad. I didn't speak to nobody but my dad. I go to my dad. I'm with my little brothers. I go to my dad. I'm like, look, I want to become a hafiz. And mind you, this is my dad's ultimate dream in life, that his son becomes a hafiz of Quran.
Wow.
So I go to my dad. I'm like, Dad, I want to become a hafiz. He looks at me. He's like, again? He's like, at this point, we need to understand. He's telling me this.
Wow.
He said, at this point, we need to understand. When I wanted you to become a hafiz in California, there was a huge mountain fire. Then all of a sudden, we moved back to New York. You enter the school here, and my business goes up in flames. That's a sign of Allah telling us it's not happening.
Wow.
Like I'm not blessing your child to become a hafiz. It's clear cut. There's no questions, no doubt. It's not gonna happen.
Wow.
So I became despondent. I was like, he's right. I mean, what's the coincidence of us going to Cali, huge mountain fire? Because of that, we leave Cali. Then we come to New York, we get settled. I'm doing well in school. And then my father's business goes up in flames. So it was, to me, I was like, no, he might be right that it's from Allah. If someone's able to even pray, if someone's able to go to the masjid, someone's able to memorize the Quran, all that's from Allah. So my dad's probably right. 2 days go after I told my dad. 2 days go by, he comes out of the room at night, in the morning. He's like, let me tell you something. I was like, what? He gathers the whole family. He's like, whatever happens to me in this life, whether I'm living tomorrow or I'm not living tomorrow, make sure you become a hafiz.
Wow.
He's like, not only you become a hafiz, take your brothers with you, grab them by the hand and make them hafiz as well. And alhamdulillah, it happened. I became a hafiz.
Wow.
My little brother became a hafiz.
What?
Yeah, he
Little
became.
brother too?
My little brother became hafiz with
Mashallah,
me.
wow.
Yeah,
What?
alhamdulillah.
Your little big brother, right? The one that's big, he's taller than you.
I mean, all of my brothers are taller than me.
No
but
way.
Yeah. My family are giants, so mashallah. My dad is tall, so.
But so what? How old were you when you started going? So where did you go to become a hafiz?
Yo, that's an excellent point because I was 19. I was 17 at the time,
17.
and we know that you memorize the Quran at a very young and tender age.
Mhm.
Usually, when you're older, you don't memorize the Quran. So I was 17. I went to like 3-4 different schools. Like I went to Queens, I went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
I went many schools like Brooklyn. All of them denied me. They're like, no, you're too big. And they're like, look at all these kids. They're all 12, 13, 14.
Kid being left back.
Yeah. So all of them denied me except for one school in Long Island. One of my childhood teachers from Queens that was in the school, he opened up his own school in Long Island. So I went there, and when I walked in, he immediately recognized me. He's like, "Oh, Rafiq, you're Rafiq that used to come to Queens." I'm like, "Yeah." And I told him, I was like, I just finished my college semester. I want to become a hafiz, and he accepted me right away.
Wow.
And alhamdulillah, on his hands, I became a hafiz.
Wow, that's a beautiful story, bro. Well, honestly, that whole story with. Wow, it's amazing. How long did it take you to be a hafiz though? Like
I memorized
to learn
it.
everything.
So completed the whole Quran cover to cover. It took me 20 months.
20 months.
20 months, yeah.
Oh my God, mashallah. Surah Yusuf right now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Give me the first 3 verses. Come on.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah, Surah Yusuf.
Yeah, it's so the thing is like you can read the Quran anytime you want. So
Yeah.
like Surah Yusuf is one of the most beautiful Quran. So A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alif lam ra. You put me on,
I want to hear. Keep going. Yeah.
you're putting me on the spot right here,
No,
though.
it's just amazing.
I feel
It's amazing.
Nah, it is.
Wallah, it's beautiful. Honestly, I respect you so much for the honesty to memorize. So many people these days around, like that I see a lot of Muslims these days. they memorize Drake lyrics, they memorize J.
Yeah.
Cole lyrics, but the fact that you memorize the whole Quran, you know what I'm saying, being in
Yeah.
New York to in America,
Yeah.
well, I give you so much like more respect and like
Props.
props.
That's the beauty of Islam, bro. You know that's one thing I really love about.
Sorry, I
Is-
didn't mean to put you on
No,
the
no, it's
spot.
okay.
Well,
Yeah, I don't mind reading it too. So it's like,
No, sorry.
even in Kenya, it was happening all the time. They're like, Tone will always put me on the spot. Yo, Mufti, tell us a story. I'm like, I'm just trying to drink my
Yo,
chai.
fam, yo, you have to. I remember that one of the stories you told us in this trip. He told us an amazing story, a beautiful story about the story about a mother's love. Basically, you want to explain the story?
Oh, you
haven't
missed.
said it.
Yeah, you.
I'd have missed it. I'd have missed
You
it.
missed
It
the
was
story.
so beautiful, bro. It had everybody texting their moms that day.
but it's what I love about you too, Mufti Rafiq. Like not just like you have with the Quran, but you also know more like about everything about like a lot about your Mufti about
Yeah.
Islam. So there's not much Muftis in this
I
world.
feel,
you
like, I
know?
feel like you was good about Mufti Rafiq is because you could relate to the younger audience as well.
Yeah.
I feel like you can connect with us, especially because you're young. You're 28, right?
Yeah.
You're 28 years old. I mean, you connect with
27?
27.
27.
Well,
Trying to make him older. Yeah.
7 what? Man, you're 1 year older than me, bro. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
He's my age, mashallah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I swear, like you're like a big brother figure to me. That's the way I see you. Like,
No, I like so.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just beautiful, bro. Well, I forgot I lost my train of thought.
No,
The mother of love.
Yeah, drop that story, please. Drop that story right now, bro.
So when we were in Kenya, just like the mothers, like everyone missing their parents and everyone, and then Yusuf too. Yusuf was always talking about, he would talk about some of the comments that he would receive, and people would be like, "Na'udhu billah," like la samahullah. People would be like, Allah will never forgive you, and this and that, and
Yeah.
and it hits home like, who are you to say that Allah? Who are you to play God? Like
Yeah.
Allah is the one who decides who He forgives and who He doesn't forgive. So when we were sitting there, it was at night, and this story came up that, and I mentioned this. I was like, one of the hands down the most powerful and beautiful story that I've ever come across in my entire life is. It sounds insane. It's a Muslim son burned his own Muslim mother alive.
Wow.
He burned his mom alive.
Yeah, both Muslim. So the son burned his mother alive. And it's hands down the most. It's a very interesting story, but the ending is even more. It's perplexing, but it shows you the love of Allah. It shows you the mercy of a mother. It shows you the rahmah of both mother and Allah subhanahu wa taala. So the story goes like this. There's a book called Birrul Walidain, written by Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah. He's a very famous scholar. He narrates a story on the behalf of Malik bin Dinar. Malik bin Dinar was a great scholar that lived in Mecca. So Malik bin Dinar, he says that one day I was in Mecca and I was standing right in front of Kaaba, and all of a sudden a huge caravan of people entered Kaaba, and they all came from Khurasan, like Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, like that area, Iran, like they came from that area. So they walk in and I see this huge, and mashallah, they're doing tawaf of the Kaaba, and I was overwhelmed with joy. He's like, I wanted to go and hug every single one of them, show them love, and tell them that, look, Allah will accept your footsteps, Allah will accept your journey. But he said, because there were so many, obviously I couldn't do that. He said, that night I went to sleep. Malik bin Dinar, he says, that night I went to sleep and someone came to my dream and said, Allah has forgiven everyone that was there except for one person. So he said, I woke up. I said, what? Allah is forgiving everyone except for one person? That one person is probably me. I'm probably the person that Allah is not going to forgive. So Malik bin Dinar is like, I went to Kaaba, I started crying, I made sajda, salawat. I was begging Allah to forgive me and just to forgive all of us. So he said, the second night I go to sleep again. And the same person that came to me my first night comes to me the second night. And he's like, oh Malik, Allah has forgiven everyone except for one person. But you're not that one person. Allah has forgiven you too. The person that Allah has not forgiven is Muhammad bin Harun al-Balkhi al-Khurasani. That's the person Allah doesn't forgive. So he woke up and he's like, what? So he starts investigating. He goes to the tribe that came from Khurasan and he asks them that, is there a group of Muslims amongst you that's from a community called Balkh? And they said, yes. This is who you're asking about. Malik bin Dinar, he says, I'm asking for a person by the name Muhammad bin Harun. And they said, this tribe, they were like, Muhammad bin Harun, he's the best person amongst us. He's the most knowledgeable person amongst us. He understands the Quran better than all of us.
Wow.
So Malik bin Dinar became even more confused and perplexed. He's like, what? None of this adds up. I see a dream that Allah forgives everyone except for Muhammad bin Harun. But his own people, his own tribe is saying that he's the best person, most righteous person, most knowledgeable person, but Allah's not forgiving him. So he's like, I'm confused. So I asked them that, look, where is he? Show me where he is. So they said he's in this area. Go there and you'll find him. So Malik bin Dinar, he says, I go to that area and I find Muhammad bin Harun. And he said, not only did I find him in sajda, praying to Allah. So he said, I became even more confused that his nation is praising him. I see him praying. He's a scholar. He's a knowledgeable person. He's a leader. But still in my dream, I see that Allah is not forgiving him. What's going on? He's Malik bin Dinar. He's like, look, I started to question myself that it's not possible. I probably saw a bad dream. It's not true. So Malik bin Dinar is like, I started to walk out of the room. When I started to walk out, Muhammad bin Harun turns around and he stops me and he says, why are you here? And Malik bin Dinar is like, oh, no, sorry. I made a mistake. I'm leaving. Muhammad bin Harun is like, no, why are you here? Malik bin Dinar is like, are you Muhammad bin Harun? He's like, yeah. And then Malik bin Dinar is like, okay, nothing. Forget it. Because he's like, look, he's praying Salah.
Yeah.
He's in Makkah on Hajj. Like, mashallah, he's an amazing person. There's no way Allah cannot forgive him. So Muhammad bin Harun is like, no. Tell me what it is. Did you see a dream? Malik bin Dinar is like, how'd you know? Muhammad bin Harun is like, tell me the dream. Malik bin Dinar is like, look, you guys all came to Makkah as to perform Hajj, and I saw a dream that Allah forgave everyone except for you. Why? Muhammad bin Harun, he started to cry. He said, for 40 years, I come every single year for Hajj, and every year I come for Hajj, a pious person like yourself sees a dream about me that Allah forgives everyone except for me. So Malik bin Dinar is like, what'd you do? There has to have been something that you've done that Allah's not forgiving you.
Yeah.
And Muhammad bin Harun says, yes. He says, years ago, Allah blessed me with a lot of wealth. I was extremely wealthy. I was rich. But I became an alcoholic. I was severely addicted to alcohol. So one day I come home and I was completely drunk. Kuntu atamayal. He says, like, I was literally intoxicated to such an extent I was like, I couldn't even walk. So when I walked into my house, my mother grabbed me. She sat me down. And she said, oh, Muhammad, eat this. So she started to feed me bread that she was making. So she started to feed me. And my mother told me while feeding me that, it was the last day of Sha'ban. Tomorrow was the first day of Ramadan and I was drunk. So my mother told me that, oh, Muhammad, tomorrow people will wake up, fasting. It's the first day of Ramadan tomorrow. People will wake up fasting and rejuvenated, to worship Allah. But you're going to wake up an alcoholic. You're going to wake up drunk. So when my mother said that to me, I slapped her. When I slapped her, she told me, Ta'ista, may you be destroyed. So when my mother said that to me, that completely upset me. So I picked her up, and the same oven that she was using to make bread to feed me with, I put her in the oven and I closed the oven and I burned her alive. So my wife came, she grabbed me, threw me in the room, locked the room door, and the next morning I woke up banging on the door that why am I locked in this room? My wife, she opens the door yelling at me. And I told her that why are you yelling and cursing at me? She's like, last night you came home intoxicated and you burned your mother alive. So he says, I go into the oven and I look and her whole body's in dust. And he said, once that happened, I gave all my money in sadaqah. All the properties I owned, I gave it to the poor. All the animals, everything I owned, I gave it to the poor. I gave it to Allah. And I gave up my entire life. All I do is worship Allah, begging Allah to forgive me. So Malik bin Dinar, when he hears this story from Muhammad bin Harun, Malik bin Dinar gets upset. He's like, why are you coming for Hajj? Why are you walking amongst us? Because people like you will get us destroyed. Because I fear that what you did to your mother, Allah will not only punish you, but also punish us. So get out of here. Go away from here. And Muhammad bin Harun, he just started to cry. Malik bin Dinar, he leaves the house, the room, and he closes the door. So he says that when I closed the door, I was just waiting by the door to see what he was going to say. So Muhammad bin Harun, he was crying and he started to make a dua. Ya Farij al-Gham, Ya Kashif al-Ham. And he said, Ya Allah, oh, the one who relieves all difficulties. Oh, the one who is able to relieve all of my problems. I ask you to forgive me. He says this dua while crying that, Ya Allah, I ask you to forgive me. Malik bin Dinar, he goes home and goes to sleep that night. That night he goes to sleep. He sees in a dream the same person that came to him the first and the second night, the same person comes to him. Ya Malik, lima tuqannit an-nasa an rahmatillah. Malik bin Dinar, he says the first thing that person said to me was, Why are you making people hopeless from the mercy of Allah? Allah is the most merciful. He can forgive whoever He wants. And then Malik bin Dinar, he says that that person said to me right after that on the day of judgment, Allah will gather the entire mankind. From the first person of Adam to the last person that will ever walk on the face of this earth, Allah will gather everyone. And He will make everyone bear witness to this incident that this person burned his mother alive. So Allah will tell the angels to bring Muhammad bin Harun and bring the mother of Muhammad bin Harun. And Allah will make a judgment that take Muhammad bin Harun by the face and throw him into the fire of hell. So the angels, they will grab Muhammad bin Harun and they'll begin to drag him into the fire of hell. Muhammad bin Harun, right before the angels throw him into the pits of hell, Muhammad bin Harun will turn around and he will say one thing, Ya Ummah, that, oh my beloved mother. That's the only thing he will say. When he says this, his mother will turn to Allah and she will only say one thing, the Ya Rabbi, the Ya Rabbi, the oh my beloved Lord, oh my Allah. Allah will tell the mother, Wahabtuhu laki, that because of your one dua, your one asking that Ya Allah, forgive my child, because of that, I'm forgiving Muhammad bin Harun and both of you can enter Jannah together.
Wow. Oh my. Well, I'm about to tear listening to this.
wallah.
Wallah. Subhanallah. Oh my God.
Such a beautiful story, man.
Oh my God. Just imagine everything in my head right now.
It's crazy,
Subhanallah.
right?
Like,
Like just the
Burned his
Yeah.
mom alive, bro. This guy, Muhammad bin Harun, burned his mother alive, and that just shows like the strength and the love that a mom has for his child. Like it's unconditional, bro. When people say it's unconditional,
100%.
yeah,
he was it's a lesson. He was intoxicated and like, he didn't know what he was doing, but he still turned to Allah and asked for forgiveness. No matter what your sins are, you can still continue on and ask Allah for forgiveness, because not that, that's how I learned from it. It's not,
Yeah,
no one is, Allah is the most merciful.
100%.
Don't look at what people saying on Twitter, online, or about the people around you saying, oh, stuff about you. Look at what Allah's mercy.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
just
that's the most important at the end of the day, and it's crazy. And all about that story is that when Malik went to the tribe and asked in the whole everybody in the tribe was like, yo, he's the most righteous among us. It just shows
100%.
like you never know like
100%.
someone's past and what they done, like and I feel like that's the beauty of Islam too.
100%. Everyone has a past, whether we try to hide that or not. Sinning is intrinsic part of human nature. We're all gonna sin, so it's asking Allah for forgiveness, and that's what Muhammad bin Harun, he committed probably the most ultimate crime you can ever commit, but Allah forgave him. He was sincere. He kept making dua, and because of his mother's dua as well, Allah forgave them.
Wow, such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that story again.
No,
Once
no,
again,
no.
I heard it once. It's my second time hearing it, and I still got the chills down my back.
Yeah,
Wallah.
subhanallah.
Nah, it's just beautiful, because you're right, as you say, like everyone sins. It's like it's natural, even, and it kind of makes me feel like, not like, it makes me feel better. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember Mufti Mink told us on Instagram Live before, like even some of the biggest scholars have like a past, like they
100%.
send. Even as you said it with you, in school, you went away, you were just
Yeah.
playing away from your deen and stuff. So
So
the
that
fact that everyone does have like a past and
so
sin,
that's what makes us different from everybody. When we do sin, we turn to Allah and ask Him for forgiveness right on the spot. That, Ya Allah, I slipped up, I made a mistake, please forgive me. And that's what Allah wants. Like Prophet Muhammad, he says in an authentic hadith, he says that if this nation never sinned, like we were all angels, Allah would get rid of us, bring a nation that would sin, but ask Allah for forgiveness.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, so
Powerful.
I want to ask, mention something. So like, that's the thing. A lot of people, the Muslim community, like they know everybody knows that everybody sins, right?
Yeah.
But like the Muslim community, especially on the internet, man, I don't know, like
Yeah.
they just love to play like the haram police role. Like they just, I don't know. I feel like they just always look for something to.
yeah, it definitely happens. 100. It happens even on my comments. I mean, I don't pay any attention to it, but those people have to understand that. Okay, fine. The person who you're commenting on, yeah, he probably made a mistake or he probably didn't make a mistake. But what you're writing in that comment, Allah's gonna ask you about it on the day of judgment.
Wow.
Like, you're playing God, telling people that, oh, Allah's never gonna forgive you. You're going to hell. Na'udhu billah. Like, Allah will definitely ask you about that, because you got to understand. I mean, we have to understand, like, those comments, sometimes it can push someone away from Islam, and that person could say like, look, Ya Allah, I wanted to become a good Muslim. Yes, I was sinning, and I was a bad person. I understand that, but I wanted to get better. I wanted to pray to you. I wanted to ask you for your forgiveness. But such and such person on my comment wrote that Allah will never forgive me. He wrote that Allah will send me to hell. So on the day of judgment, we're gonna have to be questioned about that. So that's why whatever we write in the comments, and as a Muslim community, we hear this Muslim community all the time. We need to understand we are the Muslim community.
Ooh.
It's like, no, oh, the Muslims are, no, the Muslims and on the comments, no, we are the Muslim community. If I mess up, the Muslim community messed up. If Adam messes up, Slim messes up, the Muslim community messes up. We need to understand, Adam, on your own, you're flawed. Slim, on your own, you're flawed. Me, as on my own as an individual, I'm a flawed individual. But once the Muslims come together, we're flawless. That's when we become great.
Yo, oh, man, that was so powerful, man. Wow, my Mufti Rafiq. Wallah, you give honestly such powerful like speeches. I love when you speak, man. I need to go to the next Jummah, bro. Honestly, next Jummah, I'm coming.
Inshallah.
So do you give khutbahs like in masjids or adhan? Like what do you
Yeah.
do in Long Island?
Yeah, so I
Oh,
give
yeah.
khutbahs on
Yeah.
Jummahs, and I'm also youth, like a resident scholar in Long Island, alhamdulillah.
Wow, mashallah. Yo, I need to go. Is it okay if I ask which masjid is it?
Yeah, it's a Masjid Noor in Long Island.
Masjid Noor. Masjid Noor. So I've been to Masjid Hamza,
Yeah.
but definitely I'm gonna come to Masjid Noor. So on every Friday.
Inshallah, yeah.
Wow,
So,
mashallah, it's
so
amazing.
majority of the month I'm there, but I usually travel around sometimes other masjids, but
That's beautiful.
majority of the time there.
Well, that's so beautiful. While having you here, I have a question because I noticed this with my family a little bit. Like, so they're always, when it comes to their sins or like looking cool, like, yo, I got this girl's numbers, and that right away I see him like going to their friend. I don't want to say no names. My nephew, whatever. I'll say no names. I have a lot of nephews, so I hope they don't go out there. I don't get in trouble. So they go out there and like and like show off, like, oh, I got this girl's number, blah blah blah, this and that. But when it comes to like praying, like they would pray, but they're trying to hide the pray. They don't want their friends to know that they're praying, because it's not considered kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess they're not as proud of like showing off the deed and than
Yeah.
the sin. I guess.
What is I don't know.
I feel like, I mean, we're all the same. We were born, raised in New York,
Yeah.
and I could kind of resonate with New Yorkers, or at least the youth. For us, to be honest with you, it's the environment that we have. If we have good natural brothers, like I was watching a YouTube video, and there was like the CEO of this Fortune 500 company. He was saying that, and he was saying he's not a Muslim. He was saying that, look, bring me your friends, your closest friends, and I'll tell you how successful you'll be, and I'll tell you about your future. And he's right. If I have good companions, I have good friendship with intellectual people, very articulate people who are successful in the deen and the dunya, I'm gonna walk down that path. But if there are people who are sinning, who hide their Islam, who don't want to talk about Salah, who don't want to talk about Allah, who aren't successful neither in deen or dunya, then I'm gonna fall into that trap too.
Wow.
So the people that we have surrounding us, it's so important and it's crucial for our success, not only in this world but in the hereafter.
Wow. So it's pretty much surround yourself with positive people, and
100%.
that's one thing
People that would
also.
uplift you, bro. People that only surround yourself with people that would uplift you in the deen and in dunya. I'll say.
No, 100%, absolutely. I mean, you guys been doing social media for a very long time. I just started, trying to help out people recently. I'm sure people have entered your life and exited your life, and you've realized that those people never wanted good for you. You have to select people who are in your circle of friends, and you have to find, are they genuine? Are they sincere? Do they want better for me, not only in the dunya, but do they want me to succeed in the akhirah? That's the most important part.
That definitely is important, bro.
That's-
Well,
that's-
honestly, because like
yeah.
people, friends that pray together, stay together.
100%,
You know what I
100%.
mean? Like that's the most important thing because we here for one reason. Like people, we get so lost in our own lives sometimes.
Absolutely.
And you always got to remember that the deen is number one thing in this life.
100%. And bro, and if you're praying your salahs, you're respecting your parents. You're being honest. You're being very honest with your friends. You're not lying. You're not being corrupt. You think Allah won't make that person successful? Like the kid, he's making sajda to Allah. Ya Allah, I want you to bless me with a beautiful job, a beautiful degree. I want to be successful. I want to have a beautiful car. I want to have a beautiful house. Allah is giving it to people who don't make sajda. So imagine a person making sajda and asking Allah. Allah will definitely give it to him. We just gotta ask. A lot of times we don't ask.
That's a fact, man. I always feel like times like when you really pray for something, man. Wallah, honestly, when you really really pray for something, you say, "Yo, God, like, well, Allah, I just like you make a dua and you'll get it, man. Honestly,
100%.
you'll get 100%. Like,
100%.
honestly, I don't want to mention times, but yo, it worked for me so many times. Like, thank God, alhamdulillah for everything, though.
Yeah, no,
Seriously, yeah.
alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Well, so your background, your nationality, you're from Afghanistan, right?
Afghanistan, yeah.
Wow, mashallah. But
Alhamdulillah.
you speak Arabic though, like.
Because I went to Medina.
Yeah.
So I studied in Medina for a few years.
So you said so when you studied in Long Island, when did you went to Medina?
Okay, very good. So I studied in. So the plan was that I'm going to become a hafiz of Quran,
Yeah.
and then go back to university and become a doctor or whatever.
Nice.
But when I completed my Quran, I wanted to understand, like, why do I pray? Why am I reading the Quran? What is my Allah trying to tell me? So I was like, look, let me go become an alim, a scholar.
Wow.
So I went to Indiana, where I met Muslims of the world,
Mashallah.
Sajjad.
Wow, mashallah.
Go to Indiana. I was there for about 4 to 5 years. Studied there. I really learned Arabic there. That was one of the probably the best school in America. Yeah, hands down the best school in America.
Plug me, bro. I need to learn Arabic.
Yeah, the Arabic over there. You basically kind of master the Arabic language there, like Fusha.
It's beautiful.
So when I was done with there, you can't graduate technically from there completely because they only have about 5 years.
Mm.
The last few years, it's very advanced.
So how long were you in Medina? Like
So yeah,
and teaching like
so what happened was I needed to find a school to go to complete my studies. And I was thinking like South Africa, I was thinking of going to England, I was thinking of going to Pakistan. I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
So I was very confused. So I told my father, I was like, look, let's go for Umrah, and I'll make dua there so that Allah shows me where to go and complete my studies. We go there. I saw a school there. I saw 2 schools there. I liked them a little bit. I wasn't, head over heels, but it was a very good school. In the university, Jamia is there as well. So completed the Umrah, and we come back to America, and I was still confused about where I'm gonna go finish my studies. My dad one day right after Fajr, he comes into my room. I was doing something. I was reading a book or something. My father comes in. He's like, I know where you're going to complete your studies. I was like, where? He sits on the bed. He's like, I had a dream that me and you were in Medina, and we were outside of Masjid Nabwi, and someone walks out of Masjid Nabwi and tells both of us that Rasulullah is calling you, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the Prophet of Allah is calling you. So he said that me and you started following this person to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once we got to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're looking at his grave, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we gave salam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave salam back, and he said to me, meaning to my father, that both of you are gonna leave. You guys are both leaving, but make sure he comes back. Talking about me.
Wow.
That both of us were basically gonna leave when we were there for Umrah, meaning we left. And he was telling my father that make sure that I come back.
Wow, subhanallah. Oh my God. That's where Prophet Muhammad is at in Medina. That's
Yeah, exactly. He's buried in Medina.
Wow,
Nabwi.
subhanallah. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's just how was it there? Like, because it's so beautiful there. I've been there a few times. It's so beautiful.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
So beautiful. Well, it's so nice. And they have a Starbucks there too.
So the dimension where Prophet Muhammad is buried,
Medina.
Do you guys
the Nabawi, right?
Masjid Nabwi, exactly.
So you could visit it and stuff?
Yeah, you can visit it anytime.
Yeah,
Anytime.
So you see when you go there, you see kind of like the casket. Or
Yeah,
something.
you see, it's there.
Slim is beautiful. I swear. Well, I can't wait to like you go to actually like.
No,
Medina and
inshallah, 2021. Adam, Slim, myself, we'll take Yusuf Fusi with us as well.
Oh, inshallah.
Well,
that would definitely.
I didn't tell him. He doesn't know. So if he sees the podcast, he'll know. I still haven't mentioned it to him.
Yeah.
Like 3 days ago, someone messaged me.
Yeah.
That inshallah that I'm willing to sponsor like a Umrah for all of you guys.
Yeah.
Especially for Yusuf, for Fusi.
Wow, that's oh my. So he's gonna know when he watches this.
Yeah. So when
should we FaceTime him or something? Should I FaceTime him?
FaceTime him, see if it picks up.
It's 100%.
No, 100%, inshallah, 100%.
I'm gonna FaceTime him right now. Hold on.
Inshallah.
Hold on. All right, where is he? I hope he picks up.
Hopefully he'll pick up on the first try.
Yusuf Arakat. Oh, screen record this so we can see it. Wow, guys. I hope he picks up, man. He might be on like Kenya time. Oh, he's picking up. Yo. Salam. Yusuf, how's it going? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
Yusuf, how are you, bro?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. I'm really good.
Yo, so Yusuf, so we're filming our podcast right now, like it's live, and he just wants to tell you. He said something that you don't know yet. He already said it's our podcast, so I decided to FaceTime you so he can let you know, because this is honestly beautiful, Yusuf. It's so beautiful. Well, let him know. Yeah.
So 3 days ago, someone messaged me and told me specifically that in 2021, when you guys all go for Umrah, that Yusuf, his Umrah is completely covered from A to Z, totally covered for free.
That's Yusuf. Yo, you're going to Umrah.
Wait. Time out. Go 5 minutes before. This is wait, hold on. I didn't cancel. What are you talking about?
So we've been planning to go for Umrah for a while. So I mentioned it very briefly that I plan on going for Umrah in 2021, inshallah. And immediately I got a DM from one of my very good friends. He's like, make sure you book Yusuf's ticket because everything of his ticket, hotel, expenses, everything is covered. Inshallah.
Oh my God.
And we're gonna be there with you. We're gonna
We'll
go
be there
together,
with you,
inshallah.
I have one thing to say.
Go ahead.
I have to take my mom.
Wow.
Wow, beautiful,
I
beautiful.
always said, and my mom's biggest wishes was the first time that I do go, I go with her. So whether he wants to cover the expenses or I have to, I need to know all the details so I can get my mom's flights and stuff. My mom has to be there with me.
Inshallah. Say less. It's
Wow,
God.
wow.
Inshallah.
Man, this is so crazy. Literally, I was about to pray Dhuhr right now, right after I eat my breakfast, and then you guys call me and tell me this. Like, this
Wow.
is crazy, man. I'm telling you, I tried explaining to people my life is aligning in such a way that doesn't even make sense to me. And now I'm about to call my mom and tell her we're going to Umrah.
Inshallah.
Wow.
Hey, let's go.
Honestly, we just want to give a huge, even time we listen, a huge, like, Jazakallah khairan wallah to Mufti, man. Seriously, he's the one that has, like, the company and he has everything sorted. He used to live there and teach there, so.
When are we going, though? What month?
So once it opens up, so it's still, I spoke to my travel agent, it's still on lockdown for Americans to come for Umrah. So we're hoping at least March, April they open up. So it's just a wait and see game now.
I'm thinking maybe closer to summertime, but still, like,
Yeah.
he said you didn't know yet, and when he mentioned it, he was like, yo, you haven't know yet, but you guys, and also Yusuf, they told him, the main one, he wanted Yusuf to come, and now you come in and you brought your mom. It's crazy, because we're also talking about, like, how your mother's diet helped you so much, and now you mentioned her, that's,
Has to be that. Like,
wow,
man,
wow.
beautiful. I love you guys so much.
Yo, we love you so much.
Now we love you too.
Yo, I'm gonna call you after, alright? We're gonna continue the podcast. But yo, inshallah, this is way later, but he
Let's
just
get
broke
it.
the news to you. Instead of you watching it,
Get it.
we wanted to call you.
Thank you, Mufti.
My brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Jazak. Wow, Mufti, that's amazing. Wallah, honestly, yo, may Allah reward you, seriously.
Nah,
'cause
it's not me. It's Allah is looking out for you guys, man. I'm telling you.
you know what it is, honestly, and this is kind of personal. Like, honestly, I don't even know if I can even say this, because me and Yusuf, we had, like, alhamdulillah, you know, after the Kenya trip, that's why I feel like the trip with Kenya, with Muslims of the world, you know, they gathered a lot of Muslims all over the world and together. It even made us closer to Islam. I never knew, I never knew this day will come where, like, Yusuf will actually, you know, not care about what people say and
Yeah.
talk about Islam in his videos. Because for like 3-4 years, he was not talking about Islam. And being Muslim is a big part of your life, you know?
100%.
So he's been telling me, like, yo, everything for me is just aligning. I feel it. Adam, you don't understand. I feel so good. I feel so happy. Allah's bringing a lot of stuff.
Alhamdulillah.
And now this happens. So I didn't even know about this.
Yeah.
Wallah.
Alhamdulillah.
That's beautiful. Wallah.
That's wild.
No, this is the power of unity.
Yeah.
Once the Muslims come together, the whole world's gonna change. But we're always like, no, it's me by myself. No, the Muslims have to come together. Once we come together, we'll start seeing Allah's help. Allah will start eventually to start blessing us with so many bounties.
I was thinking the same too, because even on a personal level, I was telling, like, Yusuf again, like, yo, we had this beef before. You know, we hated each other before. Even with J Dean, we didn't have beef, or we were distant. We didn't really talk with each other. And now when we came together, it just, everything's so much beautiful. You know,
Alhamdulillah.
wallah, honestly, it's beautiful, and I love it so
Yeah,
much.
alhamdulillah.
It just shows the power of unity, man. Like, you know, like a lot of like Muslim, like especially like influencers, like, or influencers in general, like they always like try to like compete with each other.
Yeah.
You know, they see each other as competition. They like, they instead of like uniting, you know, once you unite, bro, like the power, especially of a Muslim brotherhood, is very powerful.
100%. 100%.
I'm speechless.
I'm speechless. I can't believe it. All three of us are gonna go to Umrah together, bro.
And shout out to JD, because JD is dying to go with us too. He told me so many times on the Kenya trip, like he would always talk to me about it. He's like, no, Mufti, we have to go for Umrah. We have to go. He hasn't gone either.
Wow, no
So,
way.
yeah,
That's
he
gonna be an
hasn't.
honor to go with JD,
Yeah,
Yusuf,
yeah
Adam.
it's gonna be a life changing
Mufti.
experience, inshallah.
Yo,
Inshallah.
oh my, yo, this
Yeah.
is crazy. More to
Ameen.
come, man. Like we have so much planned for the year of 2021, inshallah. And this is just something new. Like I have so
Yeah.
much stuff I want to do, and this is dropping on top of us too. Like wow, it's gonna be a special year, inshallah, man.
Inshallah.
Can't wait.
Man, inshallah, we just, you know, just live we live to see
100%,
it,
100%.
inshallah. You know, because you never know what happened.
Exactly.
You never know what happened. Honestly,
We gotta live to see us taking the dub in the future Muslim basketball tournament. You know what I'm talking about? We gotta live to see that, bro. Right?
let's talk about basketball because mashallah, you play amazing, really good basketball. I feel like honestly, you play like it seems
Yeah.
like the level you're at is like a high level,
Yo,
like
fam.
D1 or
Nah.
D2 level, mashallah, with basketball.
Yo, fam, I'm not gonna lie. Wallah, I swear to God, I forgot he's a mufti when we play basketball. I forgot, man. You're such, that's why I believe when you say you're a New Yorker, I believe you're a New Yorker. Just because the way he plays ball, bro.
New Yorker, true New Yorker, which I love. You know, I love the fact that like because you know with my eyeball's not right.
that was an accident. Come on. Nah, but as Muslims,
Yeah.
my teacher should always say this to me because
Yeah.
he's always see me playing ball in Indiana, and I used to all like the kids I used to live like Sajad, all these guys that lived in
Yeah.
Indiana. I made sure I brought havoc to the basketball court. Like
Yeah,
I would make sure I would never lose. Like even
that's how you gotta be.
even in my graduation speech, I apologized to everyone in Indiana. I'm
Yeah.
like, look, I know you guys took a lot of L's. I'm sorry. No hard feelings, you know. So it was funny. But my teacher, he used to say this to me all the time. He's
Wow.
like, he's like Rafiq. He's like, that's what it means to be a Muslim.
Wow.
You pray hard, you play hard,
100%.
and you work hard. He said, that's what it is. And I was like,
100%,
"Subhanallah."
and I love it. You got the Mamba mentality. I love it so much because in the public eye, like these days, a lot of people see obviously Mufti Menk is like the most known. So I like the fact that you know you're a bit younger than
Yeah.
Mufti Menk, but Mufti Rafiq, you know, wallah man, you inspire me so much. Even my family members, they know a lot of you now since you saw because you just started becoming
Yeah.
like on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
So what made you start? You know, just uploading on TikTok and Instagram and giving dawah because it just does help you know the youth in Islam. It helps me a lot, you know, knowing a lot of stuff.
So one of the two reasons why I started. The first one was I wanted to make a platform where someone can go and find like super interesting stories, but very short stories, like no lectures, like 2 hour lectures, like just a 2 minute clip of an amazing and inspiring story. So I was like, you know, I really wanted to post that and kind of use my platform for that. And second was for Muslims in general. I saw like a lot of Muslims, you know, they kind of dictate Islam. That oh, Islam is my way. If you don't do Islam like me, you're going to hell. So I wanted to break that. Like, no, Islam is not like that. Allah's mercy encompasses everything. So I really wanted to show like the pure and the nur of Islam. So I was like, no, let me do it this way.
Yo, and you do a great job of that, bro. Well, like you have some very short, informative videos on your
Mhm.
Instagram, like your Instagram reels, your TikToks, and you say some really interesting facts, like that one fact you mentioned about two Kaabas.
Oh yeah, yeah,
How
yeah.
many
yeah.
Kaabas are there?
Yeah, I remember that.
Two
Yeah, two
Kaabas.
Kaabas.
Give everybody the answer. I don't want to just leave everybody hanging. What's the answer to that?
Yeah, so everyone's gonna say there's one Kaaba, but there's technically two, because there's one Kaaba that we all know in Mecca. There's another Kaaba exactly above that. It has two names. One is Al Baytul Ma'mur, and the other name is Ad Durah. Ad Durah is the name for the Kaaba that's in the heavens. So the Kaaba that's on earth in Mecca, humans do tawaf of it. We go there, we do Hajj, we do Umrah, we do tawaf of it. The Kaaba that's in the heavens, only angels do tawaf of that.
Wow.
How beautiful is that, bro? It gives you chills, right?
Mashallah,
It's
yo,
so beautiful.
it's just like you have nude, so much nude in you, man. Like even and there's so much story to it, man. Especially being 9 years old and being left like somewhere where you didn't know. It could have been like
Yeah.
a jail or something, you know.
Sure.
And the fact that you're still smiling here right now, well, and you're helping other people, I love it. I love it so much, man. I want you to continue
Inshallah.
uploading. Honestly, I want you to continue uploading, because some people, you know, some religious people like, or maybe just because my little brother, he's also like to his dean, you know, he does, but he always says he don't want to be on camera, you know, like oh he tries to mention like I don't know, maybe he's just camera shy and just says this, but like I hope he's definitely listening to this.
Yo,
Like
what is all that? Like I noticed that like sometimes religious Muslims they think like
camera, like
camera is like
Yeah.
haram,
camera
or like
out, like-
pictures, or like photography is haram. Like, you know, when they have photography in the walls and they just like cut out that, like I'm very
obviously no photography in the wall. Yeah, you can't like.
I don't know about that. Like I really don't know. I'm genuinely asking as a regular, like as a Muslim. So like
Yeah,
a
so-
mufti, so
So the pictures thing, it's a kind of a technical issue. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says that if you hang pictures in your house like of like people of eye that have eyes and stuff, you can hang like paintings and like houses of lakes and mountains. That's fine. But when you hang up a something or a picture that has eyes of an animal or a human or whatever, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that the angels of mercy don't enter that house. So that's why we always advise people. If you have like paintings like that of like people or animals, it's better to just take them down.
So what about my LeBron poster?
First of all, a LeBron poster should not be on the wall, anyways.
Oh, hey yo, Mufti, don't disrespect LeBron like that. Come on, we're going back to back to back to back. Come on, man. What are you a fan of? What's your team, bro?
Nah.
You violated.
That was amazing.
Nah, I'm a big time Kobe fan. I'm a big time Kobe
Wow, yeah,
Kobe
that's
fan. Yeah,
OGs, that's
Come
OGs.
on, man. You wasn't happy for the Lakers when they won?
Yeah, no,
I was not for
no, no,
LeBron.
but for real, but, like my brother says, like he don't want to show himself on the camera. Like it's
That's
it's not like not permissible to show
So,
yourself on camera. Like,
that's a good question, because Yusuf was saying the same thing on the story the other day, because he would write Fajr. So the thing about that is, I actually, for some people, I would recommend them to do that sometimes. For example, in Yusuf or your case, where you have like 1 million people watching your story, it might be a good idea to put it, because
wow, yeah.
it encourages people. Like, yo, Adam is waking up for Fajr. Slim is waking up for Fajr. Yusuf is waking up for Fajr. How come I'm not waking up for Fajr? So it's a
Wow.
sense of, it's a motivation. It's
Yeah.
it's with the intention of what you do it for.
Mhm.
So if you're doing it to show people like I'm praying Fajr, I'm the most pious person ever. No, you shouldn't do it for that. But if you have a platform and you can influence people to do good, then have a correct intention, a pure intention that, ya Allah, I'm doing it to encourage someone. Because wallah, sometimes I get encouraged. Like some scholars, they will put in, tahajjud, like in the middle of the night. And it puts in my heart that, I have time to check this post out. Why don't I give it 2 minutes to make a dua? Why don't I
Wow.
just pray 2 rakahs real quick? So,
Beautiful.
for example, in your case, in Yusuf's case, I would sometimes encourage it that, put up once in a while, praying Fajr or at the masjid, because you're encouraging people.
Yeah.
Now, if you encourage people to pray, all the good they do, you get the reward for it.
Wow.
So it's
That's
all
amazing.
about the intention.
It's all about the niyyah.
It's all about the
It's
niyyah.
all about the
Yeah.
niyyah, the intention.
Because some people, they look at it wrong. They're like, oh, you're just trying to show off. That's what. But with Yusuf, that's the first time I seen him like start doing Fajr. He even prays Fajr
Yeah,
now.
alhamdulillah.
And he prays like I just everything's becoming better and
The
better,
whole
man.
impact of like MOTW, the whole team, and so you too, especially, bro. Like you help like change a person. And it's beautiful, bro. And may Allah reward you
No, alhamdulillah.
immensely for that, bro.
I mean,
seriously, like, and I can't wait for the future. Our future.
you all as well. I mean, everyone is talking about like how like myself and all the other brothers on the Kenyan trip helped him. You guys have to understand, he was super cool with you guys. He came on the trip because of you guys. You guys were the ones who kind of advised MOTW to bring Yusuf on. So all that reward 100% comes to you guys. Inshallah.
But seriously, MOTW, I've never seen anything like it. Mashallah, like Sajjad is doing amazing
Yeah,
job. I've never seen like I've seen a lot of other like people in the UK, people in Australia giving da'wah, people in the UK giving da'wah, but now like having like an American Muslim come up and making it of the world, not
100%.
just like UK, Australia,
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. And
Alhamdulillah,
inshallah, to
yeah.
many more trips to come. All of
Inshallah,
us together.
inshallah.
Mufti, honestly, you're a family, a brother now.
No.
You live
I'm
a few,
honored.
You live a few minutes away from me, so
Sure.
you're welcome here anytime.
Inshallah.
For any Yemeni food. And to anyone listening, anyone watching, if you guys want to keep up with Mufti Rafiq, you guys can follow him on Instagram, or you guys can follow him on TikTok, or make sure you guys follow him on both. It's Mufti Rafiq Faiz, Mufti Mufti Rafiq, or AFIQ FAIZ, Mufti Rafiq Faiz. Make sure you guys follow him. It's amazing what he's doing, and you guys will definitely learn a thing or two if you guys follow Mufti Rafiq. So
Jazakallah khairan.
man,
Thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it. May Allah bless you
honestly,
guys.
and to anyone listening and watching, well, I want to do like another episode with you, but this time for like the people that are listening and watching, give us any questions you guys want to ask to Mufti Rafiq. Any questions? This is your only chance for Mufti Rafiq here, seriously, to get ask us any questions, and in another podcast,
Inshallah.
we'll give you those questions.
We'll do it.
I have many more questions. I could be here 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
But he's a question session. I'm gonna write down mad questions I have too.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
So let the fans. You can ask your question after this.
Your answers are so good, bro.
Jazakallah khairan.
Now I know that like the angels of mercy might not come to my crib because I have a LeBron poster, and I need some mercy, I need mercy. So
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, bring in your questions. You guys can DM it to him, DM it to us on our Instagrams, or else we would have been here for a few hours. But the thing is, you're fasting today, I believe, right?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
He's fasting today, so
what's the occasion for fasting today?
So my wife is fasting, so I was like, I want to fast with her.
Wow, that's beautiful. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
Couple goals. That's the real couple goals. Well,
Wow.
like people think couple goals is YouTube couples. No, that's the real couple goals.
Wallah,
Fast,
wallah.
fasting together. That's the truth, man. That's
Love it,
amazing, bro.
love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to hold up his time. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, first I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. Wallah, your story was beautiful, man.
May Allah make you guys successful, man. You guys are amazing, mashallah.
Keep making dua for me, inshallah. And
Ameen,
we'll make dua
inshallah.
for you too as well,
Inshallah,
bro. You're my
inshallah.
brother, bro. And now we're gonna hoop later tonight, inshallah. So
Inshallah.
you already know. Thank y'all so much. We'll see you next week and peace.